Good morning, everybody, and hello. It is I, Stippling Vaughn, and it is Saturday. In fact, it's not just any Saturday. This is Chuck Patton's birthday. Chuck Patton is the person who created Vibe, the greatest Hispanic superhero DC ever created. Of course, that's my opinion. But I mean that. I really liked Vibe when he was created by Jerry Conway and Chuck Patton back in the 80s. I thought he was a great character. And of course, he was underutilized. And in the end, he was killed, which is a damn shame. Because when they remade him, when Jeff Johns remade Vibe under the New 52, he was just like a generic white bread superhero. I thought that all the great characteristics of Vibe when he was created in the 80s was completely ignored, and as a result, I think that's the reason why the character and his series fell flat on its face. I didn't have a problem with the artwork at all. What I had a problem with was their approach to him. Like I said, he was just a regular, and this is nothing against a Hispanic person being in a white bread development community. But the thing is it didn't make him stand out from any other superhero of its time. When I say the time, I mean the 2000s. Whereas I thought, when he was created in 1980s, I mean, that was like during the break dance era, and it was like he was a street. Vibe didn't set out to be a superhero. He just had superhero powers, and he had no problem with like openly hitting on women and being uncouth and just doing things his way. It's when he had an attitude of, I don't have a damn thing to prove to Superman or Batman. They need to prove themselves to me. Which as a child, I could really get into that. And if I had the opportunity to recreate Vibe, he definitely would have had he would have been much more heavy into like the current car culture. When I say car culture, I don't mean like the old muscle cars. I'm talking about the tuner cars. How kids would take their hand-me-down Honda Accords and Acuras from their parents and soup up the engines and give them cool paint jobs, and how you take your old Cadillacs and trick them out with the airbags and everything with the wheels. That's who Vibe more is, and I think he would have caught on much better when he was recreated if they gave him that type of, if they maintained that type of an attitude and origin to him. So, but no, happy birthday to Chuck. Thank you for creating the greatest Hispanic superhero DC's ever had, and in my opinion, they've never been able to get a hero like that since then. I've yet to meet within the DC universe a Hispanic character who was like, oh wow, that's really cool. They kind of came close with Yolanda, when Todd McFarlane created the female Wildcat. Came close, but what did they do with her? They killed her off. She was a useless character to them, so they killed her off. So I was again, another great Hispanic character, DC underutilized and just discarded. So when they talk about how like, oh, we need diversity, equity, and inclusion in our characters. You know what? You had it, you dumb fucks. You had it and you threw it away. So, but moving on from that, today is the day, folks. Today is the day. I got an email with a tracking number, and I've been clicking on that tracking number to see where it is. And today is the estimated delivery day of Wrecked Planet. So I would not be surprised if I cut my time short here today so I can go home once I get notifications it's arrived. I, of course, will be immediately calling Miss Stipple, and I'll say, honey, has my Wrecked Planet arrived? Is it sitting right outside the door? And I'm waiting for her to say, why, yes it is. So I can run home, and I will do, of course, an unboxing video of Wrecked Planet. And I'll try to, I might just have to be late for the chat if I'm really engrossed in that story. But no, today is the day. I'm hoping it arrives, and I hope I get it. I'm hoping that the post office doesn't screw it up and send it somewhere else, and then I gotta submit a report to them that here's my tracking number. It says it arrived when I don't have it. I don't want that. I want to be posting a video of me opening it up for you guys. So, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best, but of course I'm ready for the worst. So, and then of course, Ascend, the newest book from Shane and Yanzi, has released. I think it was was it Monday? I think it was maybe Monday it released, or maybe it was Tuesday. I can't remember which was. Maybe it was Monday. It was originally going to release on last Sunday. Ethan was in the hospital, and Shane and Yanzi decided not to launch. And I don't think it had nothing to do with Ethan being on board for being there for their launch. Shane and Yanzi have proven that they don't need to be on someone else's show to successfully launch their book and have success with getting backers. But knowing Shane's history with how for a number of years he even admits this himself, how for a number of years he could only do like one-offs or covers because he had to take care of his mother when she was ill. And I think if I remember from what he was telling me, he was actually his mother's hospice caretaker at the end. So you think about it, and I know Shane's had other issues with family members with situations like this. So I can see where when Ethan posted that he was in the hospital, I can see where it affected Shane personally, because Ethan in many ways has been a guide and a mentor to Shane within the crowdfunding community. I know Shane has learned a lot from Ethan, and that's the important thing, is he's learned a lot. He's watched and learned what Ethan's done successfully, but he doesn't rely on Ethan. He is successful on his own right, but I can see where, because of that being weighing heavily on his mind, why Shane would be like, no, we need to hold off. Because the thing about it, if he's concerned about Ethan, he's not in the right mindset. He's not going to give the best presentation that we deserve when launching the book. So I have a great deal of respect for Shane and Yanzi going, look, we're not crying for funds. We don't need to just release it now. Let's hold off. Our heads aren't in it because of Ethan being in the hospital. Let's wait and let's launch it later. So, but no, they've had a fairly good launch. The important thing with Shane and Yanzi is here's the thing. Remember, they're launching 2 sites. They're launching on Indiegogo, and they're launching on their own site. They are showing, even though they've not at this moment not made in backers as much as they did with Inglorious Rex. But remember, it's going to their site. So all those fees that they have to pay out to Indiegogo, they're not doing that. So they can sell less and make money, or make more money, because of the pure fact that they are launching on their site. So they're making more money selling less. Which, remember, even guys like Mark Silvestri, when he released the omnibus of Cyberforce, he even said that's the beauty of crowdfunding, is you can make more selling less. So you think about it, Shane and Yanzi, by launching on their own site, they're making more money, even if they don't necessarily sell as many books with Xsend as they have with the Glorious Rex. So I applaud them. You take a look at, obviously Shane and Yanzi are investing their money well if one of the tiers they have in the Xsend book is a supplemental book of all the different characters in different video game settings, and they're being done by other artists, with having like Donald DeLay and Kelsey doing these stories. Obviously they have to have the money up front to pay these artists, and the fact that they are able to, and they're able to confidently have this launched. And then they didn't have it as an stretch goal, we'll have this story, and if we reach these funds, it goes to 2 stories. No, they flat out, we are having this book, and it's going to have these authors. So they're using their money wisely to increase their money and to increase their product. I have a great deal of respect. That's one of the reasons why, if you ever see me on the chat, Shane, Graham, and Aaron are the 3 artists that I'm always referencing. Graham's done a great job with Ghost of Matacumba Key. He's hit the stretch goal of 175,000, and the stretch goal for it was a mini print of Monster Island. And if it's 200,000, his follow-up stretch goal is going to be, he signs each one of those mini prints. So let's give him some carpal tunnel in his wrist from having to sign all those prints. So I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't mind sending Graham to the hospital because he had to sign too many books or has too many prints. That sounds like a problem we all want to have. But of course, Graham, being the eagle that he is, I think he'll do just fine signing all those mini prints. So, and of course, lastly, I want to give a big thank you to Shay for having me on her stream last night. I had a lot of fun. When I first got there on the show, it was Jason and Shay, and the reason why I went on the show is because they were talking about the Baltimore show, and of course because I'm going to be at the show, and they're like, oh my god, and they started asking questions, like, I wonder what the costs are for these artists for signatures, this, that, and the other thing. And I finally said, give me 10 minutes and I'll be on the show. So I went on the show, and I was telling them what I know about what the prices are going to be, or the estimation of what the prices are going to be for different artists, along with not just that, but I then DM'd Jason a listing of all of the artists with their estimated prices for signing books. So and I don't know, he might go. He was talking about getting a booth. I don't know if it's too late for him to get a booth in Artist Alley. They might be filled up there, or they might not. I don't know. We'll find out. But Shay's going to be there. She is a volunteer for the show, so I'm definitely make arrangements so I can see Shay. I mean, and a couple other people who were in her chat were like, hey, that's right around the corner from me. So we might have a Shay the Red gathering. You know how Billy and Graham have their gatherings? Maybe we'll have a Shay the Red gathering. And we'll have a Shay the Red gathering, and we'll say, hey, Billy, you can show up if you want to. You can come over. So I know Billy would just absolutely love that. Again, this is where it reaches out. When I remember that, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and I said that we are ambassadors for Comicsgate when we go to these shows. And you think about it, we only know each other through YouTube, but we're all going to be at that show, so we want to get together and just say hi to each other. And that's really where this energy of not just meeting and hanging with creators, but hanging with our own fellow fans of this medium, that just shows how we are ambassadors and we have the ability. Because if we're having a great time, others are like, what are these guys doing? Well, they're having a great time. I want to have a lot of fun with those guys too. So even if it's a small gathering this year of us, next year it might get larger, and the year after that larger. So again, it's going to make Baltimore extra fun going in. It's not just going to see these creators, but see fellow fans. So that's where it's really, where networking out to meet and hang out with people that you want to hang out with is so much fun, and makes going to these shows even more of a highlight when you go. So, but I hope everybody's able to go, who was able to, and I hope to see you all there. As you can see, I'm having fun right now. I'm about ready to wrap up this video. When I get done, give me a minute here, and I will stop stippling here, and I'll show you the next piece that I'm working on for the piece I'm going to continue to work on for my time-lapse video. So you can take a look at that. So I'm also going to include links if I can, or at least I'm going to include what I can from Shay and Jason in the description. So check them out. Give them a like and a subscribe also. Because remember, liking a show, subscribing to a show, it's free. And it helps out us creators. So yeah, you can see right there, you can see, okay, I'm definitely at my local dive bar. That's the other side of the booth that I'm sitting at. So, like I said, give me a minute here. I gotta clean the ink off this old nib. And here is the piece I'm working on. So this is what I'm doing the time-lapse videos here. Let's take this. So you can see we got the Pittsburgh Green Man, Mothman, Headless Horseman. We got the women dancing around the fire. So, in fact, you know what I'll do is I'll take advantage of this since I'm showing you guys. I know it's shaking. I know the camera's shaking. But see how the girls are now popping out, that you can tell that there's women dancing around the fire. And of course it leads up into the smoky silhouette or reverse silhouette of a woman, like a ghost. That's for Devil's Turn out in western Pennsylvania. Of course we got Route 666 in Pennsylvania. And last Sunday I did this video here, which is the fairy hiding in the grass. It's going to be a dull video, but I'm going to be working on Jack Bottles Daniel today. So I'm working up here on the stem and the top part come down. And then I still need to finish the ferry boneyard. And then I've got to finish this other side of this dam. I can't remember off the top of my head. This is a dam out in Pennsylvania that broke apart, and the water is just seeping through. And then, of course, we have the Pittsburgh Dragon, which was basically an extremely large snapping turtle. It was out in Pittsburgh. So I got to finish doing these drawing here. So a lot of stuff on my plate, and of course I had to figure out how to spell Punxsutawney so I could include it in the video, but we don't need to know that anymore, so we'll just get rid of that. But yeah, I'll be doing time-lapse videos today on this. So make sure you check it out. And like I said, like, subscribe, share it. Helps out every creator. So until then, remember everybody, life is stressful. But that's why you take it all, one dot at a time.